I get
Hey everyone, C4C Fridays, and today is February 10th, 2023.
awesome. So we're gonna go through the accounting for some of the proposals. Can I please share my screen? I don't have access.
Yep. Close. And you should have it now.
Yep. Let me share my screen. So here it is. So I'm gonna go through the community hub's address. Here's this bar. So going through the documents I saw in the USD balance, when looking at the community hubs, like payments and installments. Let me see, is this the one? No. Community hub operations. So actually this wallet provided here is wrong. This is the same wallet used for the impact onboarding, and the amount within that wallet corresponds to the installments in the impact onboarding. So yesterday we tried to find the wallet, and to the best of my ability, it's this wallet.
Which one do you need, Daniel? Tell me, and I'll look it up on IdeaScale.
The community hub operations.
Fund 8. Okay.
Yep. But actually, if you, I found the wallet because I saw the amount given in ADA to the wallet for each installment, and it's those transactions are contained within this wallet that Nori provided, with a total control stake of 33,000 ADA. If you go into it, you can find two different wallets. This one contains all the transactions from the installments from IOG. So if we go here, the first payment was for 6,600 ADA. And here you can see this is the first installment paid in the records we have. So we have these 4 payments within the wallet. These are all of them, and we have an extra one done 3 months ago for 9,508. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to explain?
So there's one more transaction than what we see on the document?
Yeah, there's one more transaction, but this doesn't seem to belong to the
It does.
to the installments.
That's from the closeout report. So hubs and events.
Oh,
we sent the closeout reports to IOG already. It's just community collab standards and impact onboarding that we haven't. So that last bit that came in on November 23rd is from the closeout report that.
So it just didn't get recorded in the spreadsheet, is that correct?
I guess so. I didn't know this spreadsheet existed.
Oh, because it was 5 payments instead of 4?
Yep.
Okay, so that's what it is.
One on 5/23, another 5/26, 5/31, 6/31, 7/11, 8/9, and then November 23rd was the last one.
okay, so if I could get those installments correctly in these sheets, I can do the accounting for that one, no problem.
Perfect. And you said the wallet on this one is incorrect on this sheet?
On this sheet, yeah, it's actually, I can change it myself.
Yeah, change it. Go ahead and change it because you found the right wallet.
Yeah. Perfect.
So that's all of the transactions that have come in or out.
Also, there's another wallet with 6,000 ADA that I don't really know.
It's not another wallet. It's all one wallet. It's just when we did our staking, it put the UTXO in the second address.
In the second address. Okay.
But
So
if you
it's
look
still
to
so
Eternal, it all shows up as one wallet. It's just got different addresses. in there.
at 33,000 ADA total. Okay.
Yeah. My mistake. What I
No,
was.
it's not a mistake. It's confusing.
Yeah, because if you see here the amount in USD, it corresponds to the amount of the total proposal. So I thought it was an extra payment. I
So
don't know where it was from.
maybe though, oh yeah, so maybe those were divided up. Because that was copied from Andre, right? Those amounts.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
so
don't.
what probably happened was he thought that we had all of it and then he divvied it up into 4 equal amounts. And
Yeah.
yet it was actually supposed to be 5. Whew, okay, so that's good.
Perfect. So with that, I think I can go through doing the proposed breakdown. I'll try to bring it over and do some type of format for this. I don't really know how you guys awarded the points.
This is what we're working on today. That's
Okay.
don't worry about that because that's part of my query today and my
Okay.
timeline in order to get this stuff done. We're digging into the
Okay.
problem and seeking solutions, getting community feedback, make sure everybody's included. And then hopefully by the 21st of this month, we're paying out fairly. And
Okay.
even these numbers that you see here, these are just numbers we were playing with. And I'm digging in. This is all I do right now. So
Okay, perfect. And yeah, in the community collab standards, I saw that these has like a higher percentage of 100.
yeah, we were just playing around with
Okay.
random numbers and figuring out how to divvy it up.
Perfect.
No real basis for it other than Nori and I talking and about 15 minutes decision.
And this isn't even a
Perfect.
spreadsheet that we're working on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where this came from.
It might have been copied and pasted from something else. It looks very pretty though, Daniel. It looks very organized. So I appreciate your work on this. As you know, none of us are accountants and none of us seem to really enjoy this, and you've slided in it. Beautiful timing for this.
I do numbers all day, so I don't have any problem doing it.
Well, before kids, I got the highest mark in calculus, believe it or not, in university. And then I had kids and that changed everything. My heart got swept away with something completely different. So, but accounting scares me. There's something about it because we're putting value on people and value on time, and it's not quite what I like. I do have a slide presentation, if it's possible to go through really quick, because it helped me sort out my thoughts on stuff. I know that Nori, at one point you had I think it's the hub. You had calculated some attendance based on people showing up and roles, and I just want to address some of that in this, and I don't know if it'll work or not, but here goes.
Okay, and just before you go, thanks Daniel for looking into the accounting and doing all that work. I think clearly you have some skills to bring around there, so that's super appreciated.
No worries, happy to
So,
help.
Very, very much so.
And I just dropped into chat. We did get paid out for hub operations and events, so there's the final 9,488 ADA for hub operations and 8,503 ADA for events that came through from a single transaction that IOG did.
Okay, so okay, I'll take that into account. Could I perhaps is there a way we can know the exchange rate on that date? Well, I think I can figure it out pretty easily.
Okay. Actually. Yeah, that's the one metadata that IOG should be adding to their transactions. It would be so helpful.
Yeah.
I think Andre in the spreadsheet has a formula for that too, right? Based on the date, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think somebody just has to look it up what it was on that date or something like that.
There is a formula in the spreadsheet though, if it's copied from
No.
Andre's.
I don't think there's no formula, but it's actually pretty easy to find out. So
Okay.
I'll do it. Don't worry.
Okay, thanks. And now, Melanie, yeah, go ahead with your slideshow.
Okay, thank you. So this was kind of cool because thank you, Nori, for guiding me to this. What is it? Memento on Brave? And that's what it, is that what it is? Memento?
Momentum.
Momentum. And this is what happened yesterday. And my goal was leaning into this storm of accounting and finances and valuing people and valuing contributions and divvying up all this stuff. And it was kind of neat because it says, be who you were created to be and you will set the world on fire. I'm not sure about the world on fire bit, not quite keen on that, but we're kind of, as a humanity, we're doing a pretty good job of that all on our own without being who we are. Been digging into Eleanor Ostrom's on principles for managing a commons. I've switched around some of the words to be a little bit more decentralized, less policing, more about processes rather than roles, and creating a safe and lively environment. I have committed to a timeline to help get these this funding all sorted out, with things like that are important to me are transparency, decentralized governance, and including the engagement of the community. I have to move something out of the way here, just a sec. From Eleanor Ostrom's clear group values and goals, those affected by the processes can participate in modifying the processes, in this case, the accounting, and the voice and ideas of community members are heard and respected by decision makers. So today I have this little quick presentation on divvying up the tomatoes, define the problem, seek solutions, possibly create a feedback form or something. This is what I need help with. Valentine's Day, present the adjusted after feedback and reach out to inactive members, because there's quite a few people from this time period that were that are not around right now. And then I don't know, Newman, about how much time you're taking up on Wednesday. Would really love to have a quick little presentation to keep the community on board and aware of what we are doing so that it becomes very transparent. And then next Friday is basically the show and tell how we will divvy up the tomatoes, and still await community feedback. The deadline for that would be February 21st or probably the 20th. And then at that point, we got all the accounting in order for all the proposals. And then on February 21st, it'd be really cool if we could actually divvy out the tomatoes during the meeting and party afterwards, because this has been a lot of work. And I think it would be time to celebrate. So let's see how we go here. Let's get my, back up here. So I call this divvying up the tomatoes, just to get, as many of you know that I love tomatoes. I'm not so keen on accounting. So if you strip any project down to its essence, you will find there are two fundamental tasks. Define the problem that you're trying to solve and solve it. So this is the way I define the problem. And we take a limited resource, and if we're not careful, we fall into the tragedy of the commons. Here we are, we've got our tomatoes or our ADA to divvy up. And now we're trying to figure out the best way to divvy them up. So we take them in these groups, the 4 different groups are actually people, and the stuff they do is indicated by the game pieces. So we take it and maybe we divide it up equally. Weird number, so something's left over. Or we, somebody works harder than another one and we divvy it up that way. Don't know, that's based on volume. Or we come along and we define the roles after the fact. Now this has definitely been an issue, and Daniel, certainly something you've brought up, that we need to have these roles defined in advance. So what's happened in this case is that people did stuff, and then we've predetermined what roles are, and that's what is possibly going to be getting the most payout. And if you see in this case, the person in the bottom corner there wasn't doing the roles. So what happens then when you divvy those out? It's not quite fair. So, and we would lose engagement. I know for myself. And this is a funny one. I'm sorry to play on this, but it's this whole thing about ADA losing value. And oh no, they're shrinking. They're turning into something else. And in permaculture, the problem is the solution. And when I see something like that, there's seeds, and I can also dry the tomatoes. So there's something we can do about this probably in the future that's going to be better or different. And then I'm wondering, how do we turn these tomatoes into something that's not just divvied up right now, that we have something to eat for future, because we know the funding is sporadic. Maybe there's seeds in this ADA that we have. Again, the problem is the solution, because it's a systems way of thinking. Systems are difficult to work on. Centralized water, for example, is convenient. And if you want to do anything different, effective decentralized systems take a lot of work. So here we have it. How do we come into this? Then we have somebody that doesn't want tomatoes. I'm allergic to tomatoes. This guy over here says, no problem, I'll trade you for pasta. And where I grow from, we grow the best coffee. And then all of a sudden we've turned our ADA into something completely different. We don't have the control of printing ADA, but we do. It says the problem is the solution. And in this is the ADA. ADA is crypto, and we do have ability to print that, from what I understand. So I just want to finish with this. Don't be scared about the end of capitalism. Be excited to build what comes next. There's a whole bunch of different things out there that I'd like to draw from. For this time, I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll get this done quick. It's not going to be delayed anymore, so don't worry about that. 8 forms of currency. There's other ways that people may want to be paid, and there's also ways that we pay people in kind with our work and different things. Lots of different things out there. Donut economics. There's a video here. This is the Regenerative Communities Network. Very fascinating. Won't play that. Oops. We'll just go back. Whole systems approach. A lot of cool stuff out there. I'd like to keep pursuing that if possible. And if not, if we just go into the roles and the divvying up, then I may not actually survive in this. And I think, again, this was today's screen share. And just a second, I can't move this out of the way. Here we go. It says, pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. So I want to keep having that. I want to keep having that pleasure in the work. Oh, and I've got one more thing to share then, is what I've been playing with. Trying to keep this really brief. And so, what I saw in the hubs, this was, Daniel, what we were working on. We've, Nori and Newman, I think, spent some time going through stuff. I've been doing this for Fund 8 as well, and our Fund 7, going through it. And then we come up with these numbers, and they're based on basically, if you had a role, it looks like you had these roles, facilitator, scribe, or admin, then you got an extra point for being in there, and then it ends up,
including attendance. So everyone who was at the meeting.
Yeah, including attendance. So this is how the numbers work out in that case. If you take the total without those roles that are defined after the fact, when I'm working, and the whole time I've been in C4C up till now, I have never thought about my role and being extra, other than, it's my contribution and somehow I'll be rewarded for it. But I never, you know, expected to be paid for it or it being brought out. And the other thing is that, you know, for the admin, in this case, it's equal to being the facilitator or a scribe or, and I just don't want to go there at this point because it wasn't something that I started out to do. So if you take this, and I did, so the way this was calculated, the 109 or 101 was based on a find, control find, and whenever you saw the name Newman, it would count them up and you take one off because at that point there was this one here. So it came up with 101. When I took away and calculated, when I took away those extra 3 ones, somehow Newman, I don't know how you managed to do this, but you showed up 39 times out of 32 possible. So you've attended 102% of our meetings. And then, so I guess what I looked at was this, like it felt really skewed. And I didn't know that this was an accurate representation of community just based on taking these numbers. So it got me to thinking, and I took these totals, and there's what it is. We have other people that have showed up. Maybe one time in here it's not quite accurate. And then what else here? And then I went, and this is what I'm doing with Fund 7. Again, this is in the way. Here we are. This was attendance. Yoram mentioned that maybe we could have another factor. This is just this row is based on who showed up. No extra roles, no nothing. Who was there at all the meetings between the time that the proposal was submitted, November 24th, and 3 months, 12 meetups later at middle of March, when I think Fund 8 proposal was submitted. So this is strictly based on attendance, and I'm ready for other people to say anything different. But what I would like help with is, how do you want to define this? Not counting beans. We didn't set out to say we're going to grow beans in this community. We set out to do what we love, and some of us don't grow beans. And if I'm forced to grow beans, I probably won't survive. But here we are. Yoram suggested, how about divvying it up as a factor of core team, whoever's very active. That's one way of doing it. I love my Fibonacci numbers as well, so they're in here. This would be focus. So say this is something that came up with Gimbal Labs. James, you know, he said, well, we all signed up for helping on different projects. And he says, well, you've got 5 projects. That means you've got 20% of the focus. So this is based on that, an idea I have. If I'm 100% focused on C4C and nothing else, I'm 13. If I've got 8 other projects I'm working with, I'm probably a 2. So, you know, just to be fair on that one. And then this one, contribution, how do you feel about it? Over and above, equal to the amount of attendance, equal to this number, less than, I'm just happy to participate. These are just some things that I'm throwing out, and I'd like some feedback on this so we can get this done. We have opportunity to make payouts in ADA, gimbals, USD instead of ADA. You know, this whole thing about selling ADA, it kind of actually drives the price down. And I think, Daniel, you had mentioned somewhere that there's other alternatives to keep it in ADA. So we're still supporting the market and not doing that. Maybe some of us would buy you out in USD instead of ADA. Maybe there's options like that. And I don't know about the logistics of that. I know I've got some Ethereum. I'd love to buy some cheap ADA right now. C4C reputation NFT, community NFT. These may have some extra costs, but there are also possibilities. Maybe somebody just wants to say thanks for supporting me, C4C. Another option is maybe I want to leave the ADA left in C4C and take it out when I need it, and watch, you know, it grow somehow and support the community. I can put it in my wallet or I can let it sit in a community wallet, but as long as I have access, then maybe that's a possibility. So I think that's everything I've got in a nutshell. You know, also going back to the proposals and seeing what we had. A few things in the hub we didn't actually do, like the translation way back when. I'm glad to see they're happening now. But so yeah, definitely a lot of work on this one. And I'm not sure that anybody should have to do this. It doesn't feel very efficient. So all this record keeping. So there you go. I think that's about it in a nutshell, and ready for feedback, and thankful that we're recording, because I'll go back to the recording and add feedback to this.
Thoughts, anybody? Feedback?
That's wonderful work. I love the calendar, which I shared in the Telegram group. You know, this is what we were doing. We're thinking very deeply on how to divvy up the tomatoes, and that's a great metaphor. Seeds and, you know, the value going down with the shrinking tomatoes. Did you take those pictures? That's awesome. That's fantastic.
They're not my tomatoes, unfortunately. They're store-bought cherry tomatoes, but it's just fun because some of them happen to be wrinkling up, and it's like, because they don't taste as good as homegrown.
No.
But anyways, it's what I'm obviously very passionate about, and it's like being in a storm, and it's like, oh, like what is it, Sound of Music, the songs that you sing, you know, you think about raindrops and cat kisses and all those kind of things. So this is my way to get through this storm, is to think about something I love and that I understand, and then I also feel very generous with when I grow them. Sorry to interrupt.
Just Sound of Music, Austria. I was sending that off to Simon. Yeah. So, what sort of feedback are you looking for? What, you know, specifically? Like I think that's a great. I mean, I love this sort of timeline, and I like putting the container on there to get it done, because one concept is like swing for the fence and try to get everything right, or try to put the ball in play. It's a thing that I've used in my groups before, where we're just trying to get, you know, if you know a baseball metaphor, we're just trying to get on base. We're just trying to get a base hit. If we hold on, and it's like, well, I guess the generic is perfection. Perfection is the enemy of good, or something like that. It's like
so it's not nothing written in stone. So for me, writing roles and doing this, that's a box, that's a container that we're creating, and it's very centralized, in my humble opinion. So this one is meant to be, okay, we can count attendance, you know, it's fairly easy to do that right now in this time frame. This is how we're divvying up the tomatoes. This is how the things that are important to me. So Yoram said, let's just go with A to D, you know, or E on these different levels of commitment. I'm thinking maybe focus, you know, that's a factor that might be. What are the other ways of considering contributions? What way would make you feel like you're being heard in this? And you might say, I'm happy to do a role, you know, like I want to see wherever I was a role and I can prove it, and this is the way I want to get paid out. And that might be one of these drop downs. So I just want to figure out the options that come from the community, so that we're not telling them the way we're going to divvy this up. We want to hear from them and say, what works for you? Does that make sense? I don't want it to be perfect, because then the next time we can change it. It's really easy to just change that drop down list. Okay, attendance is simple if we keep track of it. These drop downs that, oh, we just learned something else, we can add a new drop down, and then we figure out how to calculate those. right now, I don't know exactly what everybody wants. It feels like there's this leaning towards competing for roles and jobs and putting our names on things. So
I would say there's no competition there. Like today, Newman asked for a scribe, nobody stepped forward, so there's no scribe. I assume someone's doing it, but nobody wants these roles.
well, I
And
do
that's
it.
why
I
we
do it.
incentivize them, because there are things that need to get done and are super important, but nobody wants to
What
do
if
them.
you do it just because though? Because
But
nobody else does it.
nobody wants to do them.
I do though, but I've done that all along, Nori. I've done that all along. You know, that it's like, okay, I'd love for somebody else to help. Nobody's doing okay, I'll jump in and do it. I'm really tired though at this point of putting my name on stuff. Like that feels you know, like we're competing for this that extra point in my mind at this point, you know, and that's fine. If that's the way we move forward, excellent. I don't know that I can do that.
Right, but I don't think it is a competition, because we did it retroactively. Newman didn't know he was going to get compensated, but he did carry C4C all through the summer. Like he did facilitator, secretary, admin, like meeting after meeting
so
after.
then put that in that, put it in that. Just say, I want to be paid as a facilitator. Here's how many times I know that I did it. It wasn't recorded. You know, this is the proof. I want to be paid for these roles. And then you could do that. You know, I'm not going to do that. I just cannot do that because that's not the way I started out in this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need a simpler method. Like other groups I'm with don't have this problem. They've already like, some of them just come together on Friday and go, how much are we going to pay each other? And they go, I think we should do a 20-20-20-30 split because this person did extra this week. And it's like, okay.
Good. That's
and then
in
Andre
one of
and
those,
Nero kind of pay that out.
That's in one of those categories, just like we did when we sat down. It's like, well, it feels like this would be fair.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to give you some feedback.
Okay, sorry.
Interrupting me.
Yeah. I'm gonna mute.
And I think that it would be nice to have something really super simple to say, hey, are you in this week or this sprint? And then if you are, here's what we're gonna support you with, so that it's some kind of UBI. And then you bring people.
But that goes off track.
Hold on, you're still interrupting.
I know I'm interrupting, but you're off track because we don't have.
Sorry about that.
No, that's too bad because that's not, we don't have that. We don't have we haven't done that in the past. So that's going to me off scope. If that's something important, then we put it in that category, and hopefully Nori will look at that and see it afterwards. Cole, you came off. I know this is, I'm going on mute.
Just wanted to say hello. I've been so busy with some other work, so that's also why I haven't been able to take a lot of the positions lately. But I'm happy to, Yoram and I were talking yesterday, and I think we're going to start a sprint around the Cardano impact report maybe. So I can present that next week on Tuesday.
So just, and sorry, Cole, you know, even when I look at those numbers, you're very rarely a facilitator, admin, or scribe.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you're out, you know, like as far as that kind of ruling. So what is it that you would need in this to recognize your contribution that we don't see? Like,
yeah, I don't really have the answer, I guess, to that right now, but I don't know. I feel like the way you guys are doing it is probably the most fair it could be. Like, I don't know, like really how you would add that extra contribution, and maybe in the future, like we could actually, for each proposal, like, you know how we're starting to put like the 25% and stuff into like a little pool that keeps it around?
And
maybe we like took a smaller portion of that, and like for people like who just start popping around and doing stuff for us like randomly, like that could be like a reward pool, almost like a little fish type of like ikigai pool. Like, oh, you did this, like we have this pool of funds for these type of extra.
So, and that's going forward, right? Things that we can do in the future. The fact is, we have what we have. We have this X number of ADA. We don't have really good records. It takes a lot of work to do those. And we're trying to conceive what roles we did. And therefore, that's okay. If that's what you want to do, that's one of those drop-down lists. I want to be paid by roles, and these are the roles that I feel, and this is what it is, and I did this many. Daniel, Simon, did you want to add in before you go? Because I know you feel like you're on the, I feel like you're on the outside at this point.
Yeah, I mean, not really. You know, I'm trying to get in again.
Just for
Organized
for
a
this
meeting for
period of
Monday
time, for this period
marketing.
of time, what's important
What's the period of time? Sorry.
for Fund 7 and Fund 8? How do you feel that your contribution to the community would be recognized and remunerated properly? How do you feel it would? What would
So I
we
think
do?
my contributions, well, became significantly less in September or October.
Don't even worry about the
So
dates. So Fund 8 is, Fund 7 starts at the end of, in January, February, March. And in my timeline, it's April, May, June. So September
well, then I
doesn't
think
even,
my contribution was pretty, I mean, from my view of point, it was not so small, to be honest.
so do you want to see that as a percent? Do you want to see that as a role? How do you want that? How do you want that shown to the community? Because you are the only one that really knows what you contributed.
Yeah, I mean, I think a percent is fine. A role is fine as well. I don't mind either way. I think we should just agree on something. It doesn't matter to me so much what it is. We just gotta get it done. And yeah,
So you
I'm
don't
fine with
care
either,
so
to be
much.
honest.
You don't care so much if it goes and you don't get recognized then? What if the numbers?
Well, I mean, I would like to get recognized, and that's definitely gonna play into my ability and also my willingness to contribute further, right? But that's for everyone. And I know, for example, other people also especially Newman and also Nori and you, Melanie,
So
you did
if
so
I'm
much
hearing,
for the community
yeah.
as well. I
So if
think
I'm
we should.
hearing, yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm seeing that we've got 9 minutes. If I'm
Sure.
hearing you correctly, you'd love to see a channel or a part that says, take my attendance and add X% to it, and this is how I'd like to, this is my community contribution to the pool. Is that, am I understanding you correctly on that?
Sure. Yeah, that would work for me.
Okay, good.
All right,
Daniel,
I gotta
sorry.
leave now,
Okay,
everyone.
Simon, thank you. And I'm sorry
Thank
to
you.
interrupt you. I'm just trying
No
to stay
worries.
on track because we've got 8 minutes. So, and I'm trying to focus on this particular time frame, not into the future, not what we shoulda, coulda, woulda done,
All
but
good.
just the fact is.
I really
Thank
have
you
to
so
leave now, though. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Daniel, you're up. Sorry to interrupt you too.
Yeah.
I'll apologize in advance.
No, sorry. Can you guys hear me? Sorry. No, I don't really. I think we have to have a difference between, like, I can talk from what I can see and what I've been through, like especially the impact onboarding, which was an activity that didn't really have a lead or someone that was willing to take up on that, and Cole and I did that, and we did that mainly separately from C4C. We met I don't know, 30 times over the last 4 months. We took time out of our days to do that, and I mean, I think Cole is one of the people I'm most in contact in all of my life.
Yeah, we talk a lot.
And so that was kind of my issue. So that was a proposal that had nothing to do, in my opinion, with the daily meetings perhaps, or the weekly meetings. We took upon that, and then we tried to figure out how to get paid for that. On the other side, I think there's these proposals that if you see the structure in idea scale or what was proposed to Catalyst, we as a community didn't really follow the guidelines of what we proposed, and we are now trying to figure out how to distribute that ADA. So I think what you're doing of going through the community and asking how they would like to be recompensated, it's cool. To me, honestly, seeing myself in those lists and seeing some type of remuneration, I wasn't really expecting that, and I didn't really, it doesn't feel right for me to receive that money because okay, I can say the impact onboarding, I was doing it because I knew there was a budget. I had to work outside of the scope of C4C and work with Gold to get that money. But attending the meetings and everything like that, I wasn't expecting to get remunerated. I just wanted to be able to contribute in any way I could do. So I think going through that list and the options and maybe listening to people, I'm also I think I'm aware of the situations that people can be in. Me, myself, being a 24-year-old living in Mexico, having a company like Metera, having to pay some stuff. So I pretty much count with money when I take tasks that are meant to be paid. I count with that money for several key stuff. And I imagine people in similar situations as well. So I'm just saying that moving forward, perhaps if we get this straight from the beginning, also do not wait until the end to pay all of this. As we receive ADA, that's my issue with ADA losing value.
Yeah.
Because if we receive ADA and we send ADA, it's up for the people to do whatever they want with that ADA.
Yeah, so that's it. Again, that's moving forward. So what I'm hearing from you, one of those drop downs is going to be acceptable. You start showing up on these numbers in attendance. And to me, that's really cool. It shows involvement. And then I'm assuming that when you showed up, you got some benefit from us doing the work, opening the space, creating this opportunity for everything,
If people knowing your projects, that's more than enough for me.
So this is one of those that you can choose. You attended, this is the way you would choose to be. When we started doing the gimbal tokens, it's sort of like, we're going to pay you to show up. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily a good thing to do. But, it may be a way to drive numbers up. So I'm going to stay out of that one.
Yeah,
So,
but also the question is, so let's say, I do think like you, Melanie, Nori, Yoram, Newman, of course, you guys have put a lot of effort into this and you have to be remunerated some way. But also I think about that, and let's say everyone says we don't want to get paid. We're more than comfortable in just attending and getting into the networking sessions. That's pretty much what we are all looking for. What happens with the remaining ADA? And there's no plan to what to do with that.
No, that's not going to happen though. Like this is going to done. We're going to close this chapter very, very soon, sooner than later, I hope. But what happens is we go into the woulda, coulda, shoulda, or into the future, and we need to define the problem and solve this problem. We have a lack of documentation. We have attendance. We need to pay out. How do we do that fairly? To me, that's defining the problem, and I'm not sure that I've done it correctly. But so for me, getting the feedback of how people will feel remunerated for their work is important, so that I can go away and I can feel like, yeah, this was worth it.
Yeah, but to be honest, the problem with that is that it's gonna be kind of messy, because
that's a system for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty difficult to figure out how to divide, and I don't know.
Don't worry about that part. That part is my baby, and it will be done because I have a timeline. But when you it's like what I said, bean counting. If I'm growing stuff for a season and then all of a sudden somebody comes along and says, we're counting beans now, and it's like, holy crap, I've been growing tomatoes, onions, squash, and zucchini. I have no beans, you know, to count. I haven't been keeping track of this way. We have to figure out a simpler system than counting beans. That's what I feel like. And maybe it has to be a little bit more flexible. Maybe it's just going to be for these two funds, and then we go back to a real simple accounting system. I don't know.
Yeah, and after, I mean, like you said, we're trying to figure out how to divide something from the past that we don't have a lot of documentation or track record or really a logic behind it, and it's going to be difficult. But yeah, I think learning from this is going to be great. Also, moving forward, I would like to be more helpful with the accounting stuff, because like I said in my messages, I put my asset management hat on, and seeing ADA losing value, it's for me.
Can we talk after the meeting, you
Yeah.
and I, you know, because I need some help on some format, and that to me would make things really simple.
Of course. Of course.
Can I just ask Boaz, I know you've come into the community, you've been a member, you're getting more and more involved. Sometimes you just come for meetings. We don't hear a lot from you. What are the things that matter to you? What keeps you coming back to Cardano4Climate? And how do you see maybe in the future being remunerated? What's important? Sorry, I'm going to shut up now.
Great. I would like to talk more about myself in C4C, but I'm used to face some problem according to your accent. I can't hear really many from you, but I've seen your objectives aim for some purpose you are purchase. For example, when you say you are aiming to become self-sustaining and freeze from the proposal, what I've seen in a blockchain, that's a thing. For example, Bitcoin is energy for, I don't know how you say it in English, please. In French, we are used to say Bitcoin est énergivore.
Sorry, Boaz.
I don't know how.
Cole, you have to go, Cole?
Yeah, I have to hop on to another call, but catch
Okay.
you guys soon. Have a great Friday and an amazing weekend, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Cole.
Bye-bye.
And Newman, maybe you can shut off the recording because we're getting off track here. Maybe he's gone.
Okay, we'll stop the recording.
And then anybody can go. So Boaz,